What's up, everybody? JT Hayes, Run Pure Sports, bringing you the Wednesday edition of JT's Bang Bang Plays. Interesting night last night, 15 games and a couple of winners here from our membership cadre at Run Pure Sports. Our very own Redmen 130 taking down 5K in one of the Draftkings contests. And then looks like a former member, maybe he'll come back, former subscriber, shouted us out on Twitter, BHOP13 taking down 15K. And one more, one of our coordinators here, one of our founding members, Big T44, a little bit modest by his standards, just 120K over on FanDuel. If you're not a member, if you're not a member of Run Pure Sports in our Discord, getting our core plays, use code RPSHeater25 to come join and get a look at Big T's core plays as well as my own and several of our other coordinators. Like this video and subscribe to the Run Pure Sports YouTube network. We've got live shows throughout the day, a betting show in the middle of the day, and then a couple of shows in the late afternoon about the currently NBA and Major League Baseball slates, and then a right up to lock show with our guy, one of the best tournament players in the game, JSU Rab. We've got a 12-game slate here on Tuesday, but a couple of things. Going back to last night, how hard is it to run the goddamn bases? I mean, just a couple of plays that you almost never see at any level of baseball. First, and particularly disappointing to me, my brother, Cabrian Hayes. You guys know all about my brother, Cabrian Hayes, one of the most talented young players in Major League Baseball in Pittsburgh. Hits a bomb last night, gets really excited, somehow forgets to touch first base. I don't know how this happens at the Major League level. I really don't. But more importantly than that, like, what is the first base coach doing? Like, what does he do? Is he still watching the flight of the ball? Is he that excited, waiting for that exciting fist bump by Cabrian? I mean, I get it, but hey, watch where the guy is running, and if you see him not touch the base, you may want to scream out to him. Give the third base coach a yell and say, hey, go back, touch all the bases so that this run counts. Turned out to be a fairly important play in that game. And then in minor league baseball last night, Bobby Witt Jr. hits a bomb, runs around the bases, and I don't know if he touched home plate or he didn't. The home plate umpire said he didn't, but I mean, next time, Bobby, you hit a bomb, you get to home plate, stand there on top of the plate and salute the home plate umpire so that there is no dispute that you actually touched the goddamn base. 12 games on Wednesday night. And let's start right off the top with what everyone's going to be talking about, what everyone's been talking about in the industry and in professional sports, people who watch Major League Baseball over the last 3 weeks. And that's the sticky substances in the game, whether or not people are using, pitchers in particular, are using pine tar or spider tack or these other substances to give them a better grip for the ball, to help their spin rates, increase the movement on the ball. And we've got a guy who's been accused for several years since he was with the Houston Astros doing this to make himself a better pitcher. Garrett Cole, 11.2K on DraftKings in Minnesota, facing the Twins. We're all facing this decision about what do we do with these guys, with the Garrett Coles, with the Trevor Bauers, who's coming off a couple of less stellar performances than we usually expect from him. Of course, Cole giving up, I believe it was 5 earned runs against Tampa Bay last week in his last start. Look, I think this guy, Garrett Cole, before he started using these substances, was a guy who had a lot of talent, who was inconsistent. It's possible he's going to go back to being that same type of guy who has really big strikeout stuff, but is really inconsistent from start to start depending on the matchup. One thing that you really can't argue about here in Minnesota, yeah, a team with some power, but not power lately, right? So you look at this matchup, and Garrett Cole still has a 37% strikeout rate. This Minnesota Twins team, a 29% strikeout rate in the projected lineup. And look, you're talking about guys like Miguel Sano with a 42% strikeout rate. Nick Gordon, if he's in this lineup, 31% strikeout rate. Ben Rortvedt, a 39% strikeout rate. And Nelly Cruz, maybe they took away Nelly Cruz's pine tar because, it's been a rough stretch for him. 27% strikeout rate. So you're going to tell me that people are going to go under on Garrett Cole in this matchup? I'm still thinking I'm going to ride with him tonight. I'm not going to be particularly over concerned given the matchup. Again, we're going to see that this is going to become much more important matchup based You've got Cole in Minnesota and against a team that just really isn't hitting anything lately, but striking out a whole lot. So I think he's in play tonight. I'm not going to just cross him off the list. I did see a couple of days, I think it was yesterday, where during that question and answer session, right, he kind of gave himself away. You could see him thinking, hey, who let this guy in the room? He's not supposed to ask me about whether or not I'm using these substances in one of our own press briefings. But yeah, Garrett Cole was, a lot of these other pitchers were, and that's going to be something that we look out for. But man, it's a really good matchup, so I do think he is in play. Again, one more reason why you need to get in our Discord, join Run Pure Sports, because that may change throughout the day. We may take a look at some other information and decide he's not worth the risk or worth that price at 11.2K. But as of right now, he's in the player pool. A couple of other pitchers that I want to talk about. Taiwan Walker, a bit of a price drop here on DraftKings. He was way overpriced for his last matchup against San Diego. Now goes down to 8.6K going into Baltimore. Baltimore, as we saw last night, really, really powerful and talented against left-handed pitching, but let's not mistake these guys for the 1927 Yankees. They are still hitting less against right-handed pitching and a 26% strikeout rate over the last couple of weeks. Taiwan Walker himself has been pretty good, notwithstanding that last start in San Diego. He did just see these Orioles about 3 weeks ago in Citi Field and pitched a pretty good game. I think he can do the same here tonight. He's a guy that I'll be thinking about. Another guy that I'm going to be thinking about, man, you talk about guys who may have had a resurgence due to using some of these substances, and I hope this guy is not one of them because I like him and I like this matchup tonight. Austin Gomber, he is high up on the spin rate based on StatCast numbers, but 6K against the Miami team that over the last few weeks striking out 29% of the time against left-handed pitching and showing almost no power in a park that suppresses power, in a matchup that's not expected to generate many runs at all. I'll take a shot on Austin Gomber at 6K there. A couple of guys, honorable mention for me. Don't think I'm going to go to Zach Eflin today. He does pitch better at home, but these Braves are very familiar with him, and I know they've got a 30% strikeout rate over the last few weeks. There are some signs they're coming around and out of it. And it's not just because I'm wearing my Atlanta Braves shirt here, because I am here in Atlanta and enjoy going to their games. I do think that that price point for Zach Eflin is just a little high on this slate. A couple guys I do think we might be able to use. Casey Mize, 6.8K against Seattle in Detroit. Seattle with a fair amount of strikeouts, 25% over the last couple of weeks. And I even think if you really wanted to take a chance and pay down and spend up a little on the bats, you could go to Chris Flexen in this same matchup. Flexen, a couple of really good starts on the year, a couple of just abysmal starts on the year, but this all right-handed team for Detroit does strike out a little bit more against right-handed pitching than they do against left. So that kind of rounds out where I'm looking at least earlier in the day here. Probably going to avoid Lance Lynn against the best power-hitting team against right-handed pitching in Major League Baseball in the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, where can we find offense tonight? Well, one place I'm going to be looking at is one of the first games of the night, the Los Angeles Dodgers in Pittsburgh, taking on their old friend Tyler Anderson. Tyler pitched against these guys a bunch when he was in San Francisco. The results were never good for Tyler Anderson. Anderson is another guy who his career was going way south, and then all of a sudden last 2 years picked it up a bit. He was decent last year. He's been really good to start this year for the most part. Although the last 3 starts, I believe it's 15 earned runs in those 3 starts. The wheels have fallen off a little bit, including a disastrous start in Atlanta against the Braves. I don't think he's got much to fool this Dodgers team with tonight in Pittsburgh. Mookie Betts, 5K on DraftKings. Look, he's too good a talent to not come out of where he's at. He can also steal some bases, and Tyler Anderson will let you run around the bases on him. Chris Taylor, 4.6. AJ Pollock, 3.1, just recently back from the injured list. I even think you could play guys like Albert Pujols at 3.1. Pujols showing some power against left-handed pitching in his stint with the Dodgers here. And Cody Bellinger. Tyler Anderson does give up a fair amount of power to left-handed pitchers, and Cody Bellinger hits left-handed pitching pretty well. Cody Bellinger, 4.6, if you wanted to go with the 5-man stack for Los Angeles. Look, there's a couple of other places that I know you can look tonight, right? You can certainly look to the Angels again against Brad Keller out there in Anaheim. Of course, we're going to have interest in the New York Mets against Matt Harvey. We'd have interest in a Double-A team against Matt Harvey. But a spot I like here is going to be in Cincinnati, the Milwaukee Brewers taking on Vlad Guerrero. Gutierrez, some decent results for the rookie so far in his first couple of starts, but those underlying metrics suggest that regression is coming, and probably coming here pretty quickly, with a 5.68 xFIP and a 13% 13% walk rate over the last 3 starts. So some of these Brewers stand out to me, like Christian Yelich at 5.3, Omar Narvaez at 4.0, Travis Shaw, left-handed power hitter in that smaller ballpark, at 3.1, and then Luis Urias, if he's leading off, at 3.6K. So, like them a lot. Milwaukee Brewers, Los Angeles Dodgers, you can absolutely look to the Mets, and of course you can look to the Angels again in that matchup. You can even look to the Phillies in a matchup at home against Tucker Davidson, who's been really good, but getting really lucky. I think it's a 0.77 batted ball in play average against for him in his start so far. You know that's going to go up. You know that Major League batters are going to adjust to what he's throwing. Once again, if you're not a member of Run Pure Sports, get in there. Use code RPSHeater25. Get 25% off of your first month's payment. Subscribe to the Run Pure Sports YouTube network. Like I said, shows throughout the day. That does it. JT's Bang Bang Plays for Wednesday. Good luck on the 12-game slate, and Run Pure.